Hello everyone and welcome back to J&J Do Dev. I'm Gene3X and today we will talk about the best programming language to learn for beginners in 2023. First and foremost, I'd like to say that the best programming language doesn't exist, as I'll explain in a bit. Instead, this video is about allowing you to decide which language will suit your needs best, and I'll give you a couple honorable programming language mentions. The world of programming is undoubtedly vast, with new programming languages coming out at a bit too high speeds, and their frameworks and libraries coming out even faster. It can be truly daunting to get into that world, worse than going to math class, especially when there are so many blogs and videos out there claiming how you should begin and why. Before you pick which language you want to begin your journey with, you must first understand what you want and what your objectives are. One key thing to understand is that technologies change, but concepts do not. Therefore, any language you begin with, as long as you really try to understand how and why things such as variables, functions, loops, and etc. work, you will be able to transfer that knowledge to other programming languages you begin studying. So even if you were to start with the wrong for you language, the time you spend on it will not be wasted. Before picking which language you want to begin with, you must decide in which field you want to orientate yourself to. Some people enjoy making websites or backend servers, while others prefer working on drivers and operating systems. There are also other fields such as embedded programming, desktop application development, and mobile applications too. Even though all these fields have their own specific terminology, they do share a lot of concepts as well. However, even if you are not sure which field to start in, you can still learn one of the most widely used languages, and it can often be used across different fields. Such an example is JavaScript, one of the most popular and well, strange languages, which grew from the web and has spread to many other fields. At the beginning of when web browsers began developing, JavaScript was and still is the main language used to build interactive websites. Of course, with the advance of technology, it is possible to build interactive websites even without much JavaScript, thanks to WASM. However, JavaScript can still be used for things such as web backend servers, thanks to runtimes like Node.js, Dino, and Bun. It can be used to build desktop applications with frameworks including Electron, and it can even be used for building mobile apps with React Native. In my opinion, in the near future, JavaScript will still be the most widely used language for websites on the front end, but that does not mean it is or it will be the same for other fields. An example is backend server development, where actually most languages can be used. Some of the most famous ones include Python with frameworks and libraries such as Django and Flask, Java with frameworks such as Spring, Dragon for C++, and a rather new player in the language game, Rust, with its own ecosystem, including Rocket and Actix. Another important mention includes PHP, which was the go-to language for writing backend servers back in the day. It is still widely used, and even though there's a lot of negativity around it, from what I've heard, newer frameworks are making it much better to work with. Of course, the list still continues with other languages such as Ruby, Go, Scala, and many others. When it comes down to mobile development, you pretty much have your game split into two factions, Android and iOS, where Android apps are usually built with either Java or its fully compatible, announced by Google replacement, Kotlin. For the iOS side, you can either pick Swift or Objective-C. With the advance of new frameworks, some languages try to give us the ability to write cross-compatible applications, such as React Native, but not without its cons. As a proud Android member, I can assure you Android is a much better faction than iOS. We have puppies. For low-level programming, such as operating systems, drivers, and or embedded programming, people would most likely jump to either C, C++, Rust, or if you're a masochist, you might jump straight into assembly. When you need to write scripts to automate something, such as being able to rename all of your images in a folder, or a system that detects when someone opens your homework folder and quickly deletes it, people would most likely use Python or operating system specific languages such as Bash for Linux and PowerShell for Windows. However, most other languages explained here can also be used for this purpose. While this might sound like a lot, you need to remember that you don't need to be good in all fields. Often people would stay in one or two for at least a couple years. I also mentioned in the beginning that concepts are transferable. If you are to learn important concepts, such as how computers work and how programming languages actually all come down to the same thing, assembly commands, and at a lower level, machine code, you will realize how similar all languages are. Things such as data structures, algorithms, problem-solving ability, testing concepts, design patterns, best practices, and much more can very often be used across the languages you learn. I'm telling you that so you can remain sure, even if you pick a language that is not the most optimal one for you, you will still gain experience and will be worth it in the long term. I would also like to note that if you're someone who is not very good at math, you don't need to worry much about it. I can assure you that some fields, such as front-end development, do not require more than basic math skills, at least initially. There are, of course, other fields, such as machine learning, where advanced math is required. Before we end this video, I'd like to give you a couple languages you can be sure will remain used for quite a while, so it is rather safe to begin with them. The first one is JavaScript, in 7th place on the TIOBE index. Another language would be Python, which ranks first in the same index. Both of these languages are some of the easiest to learn for beginners and have a lot of places where they can be used. Another very battle-tested language is C++, ranking third in the TIOBE index. But from what I've heard, it is a language that is very difficult to master, and it has a lot of ways with which you can blow your leg off while coding. But even then, it is a language that is praised for its speed and it is highly used in low-level programming. One of its rather newer contestants is Rust, which ranks at 20th place in the index, another low-level language that is said to be easier than C++, and I've used it myself, and I did enjoy it very much. Unfortunately, it is not widely used one yet. Languages such as Java ranking 4th and Go ranking 11th are also good picks. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a comment with your opinion. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe.